Coming to paperback and e-readers this February, Isis, Samurai Goddess. The goddess next door takes on kung fu killers in this action-packed martial arts Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Samurai Goddess in paperback and e-readers this February. The grass is always greener on the simp's side of the street. What does this mean? This means that whenever you deal with a simp, instead of him appreciating what he has on his side of the street, he's always looking at what somebody else has and coveting what they have and trying to get what they have. And because he does not appreciate what he has in front of him, he usually winds up with nothing at the end of the day. Because when it comes down to your simp, usually he's so busy focused on the other side of the street, he winds up missing out on the opportunities that are standing in front of him on his side of the street. And because he is not looking at his side of the street from a objective view or a view with a vision, he does not see the tools and the resources in front of him that could take him to the next level. And because your simp is not thinking about using what's in front of him to get where he wants to go, he usually winds up going nowhere at the end of the day. What many simps do because they have low self-esteem is they wind up daydreaming about what's happening on the other side of the street. And because they're daydreaming about the ideal of what they see on the other side of the street, they can't see the reality staring them in the face. And because they cannot see the reality staring them in the face, they wind up missing out on all the opportunities that are right in front of them. And an example of this is in the 1982 movie, The Last American Virgin. Now, in the 1982 movie, The Last American Virgin, you have the main character of Gary, who pretty much has all these opportunities in front of him for relationships and sex, but because he's so busy caught up in the fantasy of his dream girl, Karen, he winds up missing out on everything. Because if he were to have a clear mind and see the opportunities in front of him, he would have seen all these opportunities that he had at either a relationship with her best friend Rose or to have a sexual relationship with this Hispanic nymphomaniac in the film. But because he was so caught up in his fantasy world and his dream of Karen, he wound up with nothing at the end of the day except a broken heart and tears as he wound up driving away at the end of the movie. And the reason why that was is because he was so busy focused on the other side of the street that he could not see the reality in front of him. Because guys who see the reality in front of them see the opportunities in front of them, and they're able to take advantage of the opportunities in front of them because they see the people who are interested in them, they see the people who want to work with them, they see the women who want to have relationships with them. And because they have a clear view of these people who are interested in having relationships with them and working with them, they can take advantage of opportunities in front of them that will take them places that may even be better than getting to the other side of the street. And because they see those opportunities, they're able to capitalize on them and take advantage of them and move their lives forward. But because your simp is so caught up in his own idea of what he wants, he winds up getting absolutely nothing at all, like Gary. Now, Gary in The Last American Virgin, yes, he did get one sexual encounter, but that was with a prostitute, and he had to pay for that because what happened was he pretty much did not see the opportunities in front of him. Meanwhile, his two friends, Rick and David, pretty much saw the opportunities in front of them and were able to take advantage of them. Rick to the point where he was able to even get the dream girl and pretty much have carnal relations with her. And that's all because they could see the opportunities in front of them. Meanwhile, your Gary, your nice guy, pretty much was caught up in his own fantasies that he could not see the reality in front of him. And this is something that many simps just don't get because they live inside their heads. They don't live in the world of reality, and they're too busy chasing dreams to see the real opportunities that are staring them right in the face. Because there are opportunities for success every day, not just with women, but with jobs and careers. And the simp can't see them because he's got a single-minded focus on achieving a dream, not understanding that dreams are just something from your imagination. And in order to achieve something, you have to be able to see the reality in front of you so that you can capitalize on those opportunities in front of you. Because a lot of simps think that that grass on the other side is so green, but it's not green at all. It's the same side. It's the other side of the street is just like your side of the street, but because you, Mr. Simp, don't have any vision, you don't wind up getting. Even if you do get to the other side of the street, you wind up missing out on all the opportunities in front of you, because the simp's big problem is he's so busy dreaming that he can't capitalize on reality. And because he's looking at that other side of the street, looking at it, dreaming about it, idealizing it, and fantasizing about it, he can't look at the side of the street he's on and the opportunities in front of him to take advantage of them to move himself ahead. Because there are opportunities in front of us, again, every day, and these guys pretty much wind up missing out because they just can't see where they're going. And then at the end of the day, they wind up with absolutely nothing because they're so busy coveting something and trying to grab at something that they wind up losing what they already have, and then they wind up trying to get the other thing, and they wind up with absolutely nothing at all. Because when it comes down to your simp, he can't see those opportunities, and then sometimes he has the opportunity right in his hand. He has the opportunity at a relationship at his hand. He has the opportunity at sex right in his hand. And he has the opportunity to advance his career right in his hand. But because he's so busy fantasizing about what he wants, he winds up with absolutely nothing at all. Because people will see that he's not willing to take the opportunity, and they go and make an offer with somebody else because he's too busy looking at that other side of the street to see what's already in front of him. And I saw this, back when I was working at City College of New York, and with the job that I had, I mean, this professor I was working for, this mangina, everybody was saying I was doing a good job for him, but because he was so busy looking for what he wanted, he couldn't see the value of what I was presenting to him. And I'm sitting there in the performance evaluation. He's sitting there talking about how he wants somebody with a sales and customer service background. And he knew I was a writer, not understanding that, a writer has to have a sales and customer service background in order to sell books to publishers and literary agents. But because this guy was so caught up in what he wanted, he wound up losing what he had. And when he tried to sabotage me and then tried to have me fired, he wound up losing what he had. And that's what happens with your simp. He's so busy looking for what he wants that he loses what he already has that has value. I was a guy doing the work and getting things done, but because I wasn't fitting into his fantasy, he couldn't see the reality that I was presenting to him. And this is what your simp does all the time, because instead of him looking at the people who are interested in him, he's so busy looking for what he wants that he winds up losing what he has. Because I look at this guy who talked about that sales and customer service background, and I take that situation, I say, if this guy was on a date with a woman, this is the same kind of guy who would be sitting there talking about the girl of his dreams in front of another female that he's sitting with in a coffee shop. And then, as that woman goes to say that she's going to use the bathroom, he'll be sitting in the booth wondering where this woman went, not understanding that you talking about this other female in front of this female who is already available and is looking like they're ready to cooperate with you cost you that opportunity, and your quest for this fantasy pretty much leaves you at the end of the day with absolutely nothing. And this is what happens to many simps and manginas all the time, because they just don't get it, because they're so caught up in their fantasies they can't see the reality, and because they can't see reality, they won't be able to capitalize on those opportunities in front of them. People who understand that, you can't worry about the other side of the street or look at the other side of the street, understand that they have to focus on what is presented to them, what they have in front of them, and what resources are in front of them. Because the people who are gravitating towards you are based on who you are and how you feel about yourself. If you radiate positive energy, you're going to attract positive people to you. And if you have confidence and positive energy, people are going to be interested in working with you. They're going to be interested in cooperating with you. And they're going to want to, be a part of your life. But because a simp has no self-confidence, no self-esteem, and has negative energy, they wind up not being able to attract people to them. they wind up not being able to get opportunities offered to them, and they wind up being gravitating towards people who are low seed and low life, and the opportunities they offer them usually wind up with them winding up like Gary in Last American Virgin, being a trick, paying for something that winds up costing them everything that they ever tried to get, and they wind up with absolutely nothing at the end of the day, because this is what happens with your simp, because he's always looking at that grass on the other side of the street instead of looking at his side of the street and seeing and creating a path for himself to take himself to the next level. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.